What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Top 5.
Top
This is a show where I take
five.
musical categories such as songs or albums from any artist, any genre, and I'll put it out there and I'll be like, hey, Caz, what's your top 5? And he'll
Ah,
share his, I'll share mine. And unlike most top 10 and top 5 things like that you'll see across this here YouTube land, we invite you to jump in here too because we want to hear what y'all's are.
we
And this
do
one
invite
is
you.
very unique in the fact that we are not focusing on one artist because this goes across the board. Today was the top 5 drummers in music.
This
Um,
sucked.
this is actually going to be cool because this reflects what we like. So it's different for everybody. No two top 5s are going to be alike. So when you hear mine and you hear Kaz's, they may not even be the same 5. And when we get yours, we might be like, well, damn, I forgot about that dude. Or, um, you put that on there, because y'all gonna do that to us. So we're gonna do it to you. This just shows our love for music.
Yeah,
So
well, my picks are a combination of memory, recent memories, old experiences, new experiences, and then when it came down to it, it was just about who can I really say I like 1 through 5 and where I can put them. That was
now,
it.
now
It's
this is a
difficult to
little
pick any.
different than what we normally do, but I'm gonna ask you up front. Did you have 2 or 3 that maybe that you liked but didn't make the cut?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Because here's
Um,
here's 3 of my honorable mentions. They didn't quite make the cut. Cindy Blackman, if you're familiar with her, she's the drummer for Lenny Kravitz. She just missed the cut. Um, Larry Mullen Jr., who is the drummer for U2, very underrated. And then also Phil Collins. Everybody forgets he was such a damn good drummer, especially back in the 80s. They missed the cut.
well, I suck because my runner-ups list I didn't bring with me. Only one that I can think of off the top of my head is the drummer for David Letterman, but the dude's bad. So he was one of them. And of course, he was not very low, not very high on the list, but even Prince was on my list. The what's his name? Van Halen's drummer, Van Halen. So
Alex.
yeah,
Ah,
Alex.
funny you should mention that. Alex is actually going to show up on my list. We'll get to
Mm,
that.
yeah. So yeah, I could have picked some, but
And again, before we get
here we
into it,
go.
stressing to everybody, there's no wrong answers, none. So, you know, what works for one may not work for another, but that's all good. What's your number 5?
My number 5, I had to pick Peter Criss from Kiss. I had to pick him one for familiarity reasons, because back when I was learning to play drum on the snare drum, matter of fact,
Mm-hmm.
he was the drummer that I wanted to be like at that time. He was really popular with Kiss, and I just went and looked at a drum solo of his live in Largo in 1977, I think it was. Yeah, so Chris was my number 5. There's a
All right.
5 minute video of 5 minutes 35-second video of him playing in Largo. So Chris, number 5. I had to put him number 5 because he does a lot of repetitious things during solos, and if you don't get lost in what he's doing, you can get bored with what he's doing.
Mm.
I have an appreciation for what he's doing, but he does a lot of repetitions. And then some of the sounds that he was doing was kind of annoying on some of his solos. So that's why he's number 5 out of my 5.
Okay. My number 5 was the aforementioned Alex Van Halen. To appreciate Alex, you would have to go to a live show because that boy's bad. He can get down. I mean, it does come through on the records, but live, look up some live Van Halen stuff.
Nothing beats live if the dude's a bad dude
Yeah,
on drums. Live just takes me to a whole new level. Yeah.
yeah. So that's my number 5, Alex Van Halen.
Mm-hmm. Number 4 for me, and it was hard to put him at number 4, but because of my other 3, I had to put him there as Neil Peart. I had to put him on the list, but I just couldn't put him above the top 3. So, but he would be a top 3. Wasn't in the top if it wasn't for the other top 3. So, and the solo that I leaned on a lot that I liked, he actually performed. David Letterman had a drum solo deal going on his show back in 2011, and Neil was one of the ones that did the solo performance on there. So that's the one that I leaned on the most with him.
Okay. My number 4 was Chad Smith. And anybody who knows the Chili Peppers, you know that Chad can bring it. I mean, if you just listen to their repertoire, they do punk, they do funk, they do straight up rock. So he's proficient in all of that. And it comes through on every track that they play. So Chad belongs on this list.
Mm, mm, mm. This, and it's funny when you listen to the list and you go, "Oh, I should have picked that one." Oh, well, my number 3, Akane.
Until you mentioned her, I didn't even think about that. Definitely has a place on the list. I can see that. I can see that.
Man, yeah, she did a solo. They called it a gorilla solo.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah,
Wow, that's a
that's
good
my
number 3.
that's my girl.
That's a tough act to follow. My number 3, Stuart Copeland from The Police, because of his playing style. There is no other playing style like that in rock music, period. I mean,
There's
I
no
don't
one
know if
like.
he made that up. I don't know if that was intentional. I don't know if it was accidental, but his style, he can play loud, he can play fast. I know he can play fast because there's videos out there, Sting yelling at him because he's going too fast for the song, but Um, I just love the fact that, and I like musicians that can do multi-genre things. They'll do rock 1 minute, they can do reggae the next minute,
Yeah,
and pop,
yeah,
and
yeah,
and 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 I appreciate drummers who have that proficiency.
yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah.
Stewart's my number three.
Mm, mm, mm. Well, this is where familiarity again sinks in, and it's my girl, Sheila E.
I knew she was gonna be on
Mm,
your list.
mm, mm. Not only is that girl fine, some bitch, but she's a badass drummer. She's a badass percussionist. I again, I picked. I went and looked at so many that she did. A lot of her solos are percussion, so but the one that stuck out on me again, she also was on David Letterman's drum solo
Hmm.
program. So yeah, yeah, she just and then the solo she did on there, she had on heels.
Wow.
That girl is bad. Who's bad? There you go.
My number two would be Neil Peart.
Mm, go figure.
Um, I mean, he was a badass, and
Hmm.
anybody who's familiar with this channel knows we love our Rush. And
Rush.
I mean, we even did a Sizzler Fizzle with Neil's drum solo, so you know how bad he is. If you don't, it's somewhere over my shoulder. Click it, watch it. Come on back to this one, and you'll understand why we appreciate Neil so much. He's my number
Yeah,
two.
buddy. Goodness, goodness gracious. My number one, which will be a shocker and not a shocker because of who he was affiliated with at one point, John Blackwell Jr.
Johnny B, huh? Where's John Blackwell Jr. from?
I was introduced to Johnny B. Prince Musicology tour. When
Okay.
Musicology came out, he was a drummer. He was his live drummer. Ooh, that brother was back. He passed away. God bless him in 2017. That brother was bad. And I mean, and then I went and looked up some more stuff of his because I didn't want to just simply affiliate him with Prince. And I actually found he did, it was a drum solo, part of a jazz performance.
Mhm.
It was like a little group thing that they did. And his solo was part of this performance that they did. Man, it was called the video itself is John Blackwell, rest in peace, R.I.P. drum solo, Jeremiah's Sleepy Night.
Hmm.
And this was not Prince. This was strictly jazz.
See that
Uh,
that's what I like about us doing these shows. You give me that
mm,
information, I can look that up, and I'd be like, damn, I see why he was on his list. Okay, I like that.
anyone who appreciates drumming, look that one up. I mean, over anybody. If I say maybe possibly in the ball game, Neil, uh, Akani maybe, but yeah, I initially had Sheila first, but I went and looked again and watched him again on the Sleepy Night, and I was like, no, hell no, hell no. He's number one on my list. Period. End of discussion. I have no other questions or answers. Your turn.
Well, my friend, sometimes great minds think alike, and we were almost on track because I have a number one that also happens to be deceased, who also happens to be a Johnny B. This would be a Mr. John Bonham, aka Bonzo from Led Zeppelin.
Yes.
He played with such power. I mean, it was almost like thunder making songs.
This will get me killed, but I was going to, he would have been between 4 and 5 on my list, but familiarity, I cannot say that word, made me pick Peter Criss over putting him on
And
the
I
list.
get that.
That's the only reason. The only reason. Period. Okay.
Hey, that's okay. Anytime you need to, I got 10 Led Zeppelin albums if you want to hear them. We'll start from the beginning. I mean, you can't go wrong with John Bonham. I mean, and it wasn't just the power. He had timing and he had technique as well. Here's how cold he was. After he passed away, Led Zeppelin's like, we're done. It wasn't even a thought. It wasn't an issue. We weren't gonna go audition a new drummer. We're done. When they finally did come back and do a concert, the only person that could fill Bonzo's shoes was John's son. That's the only person that's ever played drums for Led Zeppelin besides John was his son. And anybody who's ever heard Jason Bonham play, they know Jason plays just like John. Sizzle Gang, quick question before we get out of here. Speaking of Jason Bonham, can you tell me the band that Jason Bonham plays with when he's not playing with Led Zeppelin? Leave me a comment. Like, share, subscribe. We'd love to hear from you.
Tell
Make
us.
sure you leave us a thumbs up and give us your top 5 drummers. Again, no right or wrong answers. Just give me 5 that you love.
5.
5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't. We got more coming. Stay positive. Stay blessed.
And people, no matter what's going on in your life, keep it moving.
Later.
Later.